seasons this year. You got preseason, you got the first half of the season, which is kind of, get things going, and now you have the real second half of the season where things get a lot more real for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
We're going to learn a lot about this team the next 2 weeks against Seattle and Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Are they, as Bruce Arians said, contenders, or are they pretenders?
Yeah, 2 Sunday night nationally televised games back-to-back, first time in Cardinals history that's happened. And you've got 2 teams that, obviously, the Seahawks have had the Cardinals number for a long time, and then Cincinnati 8-0. I mean, this is not going to be an easy 2 weeks. You've got to go to Seattle.
You can make an argument that we'll know exactly how the Cards are going to finish up after these 2 weeks, because these 2 weeks are so huge. It's huge for the Hawks and the Cards. Think about it. If Seattle, they win out, they win the next 2 games, of course, that's very possible. Cards at home. They got Niners at home with Blaine Gabbert at quarterback. If Cards lose the next 2, which is very possible, they are on the road at Seattle, then an undefeated Bengals team. We're looking at Hawks 2-0, Cards 0-2. That's a tie, 6-4, with the Hawks owning the tiebreaker. I mean, that is a completely different scenario in the NFC West if that happens the next 2 weeks.
It's fun because we had the bye week, and of course everybody wants to know what do the players do on their bye week, and we talked to literally Carson Palmer and Larry Fitzgerald and Patrick Peterson, Calais Campbell, all these guys last week. And Carson was the one guy who was very vocal last week saying, my bye week starts February 8th, the day after Super Bowl 50. Nice. I'm going to be here working out. I'm going to be training. I'm going to be lifting weights. So went on Instagram last night and said, okay, let's see what these guys have been doing for the last few days. And, of course, we found some Instagram pictures.
What have they been up to?
Yeah, and so Carson Palmer, and I think one of the first ones we saw was him out in the backyard getting ready for bow hunting season. And he said, just count, we're counting down to bow hunting season in Ohio. I think he had 163 days to go, so he's staying sharp. But you can see the kids looking. You can see the case there on the side. It's like he's protected this bow. It looks like he's got a pretty good stance.
I'm okay with him working on accuracy. I don't know about you guys.
With a bow, though, would that be something else?
Right?
Yeah. So it was kind of fun to see. And then, of course, we saw him Saturday night. He was watching the USC Trojans take on the Arizona Wildcats. Your Wildcats.
Yeah.
And you can see him on the sofa there with the USC hat on backwards. And, of course, he was a Heisman Trophy winner there.
Of course.
Fireplace is going, the TV above the mantle, and, he's digging it.
That is a nice setup. It looks so cozy.
Not too bad, huh?
Watching some football, your alma mater.
I know.
Yeah, gave my Wildcats let slip away.
Yeah,
yeah, man, that was.
He's got the iPad there next to him on the couch, and so it's just so. There's Carson Palmer on his bye week, and we knew he was working out and doing those kind of things.
That's what we want to see him doing. Is resting up,
Exactly. Here's Andre Ellington. Of course, that was the big game on Saturday. Was Florida State Clemson, and see how Clemson was going to do. And there's Andre and his Clemson. He posted that saying, "Here we go, best of luck. Let's go Clemson." And of course, Clemson went on to win the game.
That was a heck of a
kind
game.
of fun to see these guys and what they were doing.
He's got to be excited. Clemson's the #1 team in the country.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So Tyrann Mathieu comes up here, and of course it was Alabama, LSU at Alabama, and all these guys. This whole secondary for the Cardinals is the SEC secondary. And Rashad Johnson, the lone Alabama guy, and everybody else from LSU. So Tyrann posts this, and of course he's wishing the Tigers best of luck.
Shane and I were talking early this morning how much trash talk I'm sure
they must have had a bet there.
Oh my gosh,
Rashad Johnson.
Well, I know Rashad and Patrick were there, so Patrick Peterson posted pictures of him. Of course,
this is him with a big pick in the Bama game.
In the game.
Yep.
So,
right.
And then we got
reminiscing.
Rashad. Yeah, Rashad with a big.
Rashad with the whole family. He's there,
wow.
right? He goes, "Here I am with the fam," and they're roll tide. So those guys they're just chipping at each other all week on this game. Right?
You notice how 3 star players right there we've looked at, they're all still in the football mode. Even their off time, they're involved with the game of football. That's what they love.
Well, you guys remember Le'Veon Bell, how freaked out he was when Michigan State won.
Oh my
Michigan.
gosh, that clip was hilarious.
They live and die with their alma maters. I love to see that.
Yeah.
This one I actually heard. This is Calais Campbell. He went on the Dan Patrick show, and I was actually listening to Dan Patrick that morning. He's like, "I got Calais Campbell coming up next," and so Calais just looking a little awkward there, maybe so far away from Dan Patrick in that picture.
It's kind of an awkward setup if you think about it. You're far away. You've got a random mic in your face.
Yeah, the mic's coming down with his big mic arm.
Yeah.
Calais is the classic, beast on the field and such a nice guy.
Oh, he's the greatest guy. Yeah. So that was fun. He was in LA. Dan Patrick had brought his show to LA for the week. So. And it was just kind of fun. This one, I just saw this one. This is David Johnson, the rookie running back. And this is a week old. It was Halloween, but it was so funny. He goes, "Emmett's fighting crime one day at a time. And I just that this one just means too much, to not show it.
Cowabunga, man. You got Michelangelo outfit on. You got to love it.
The dog get any pizza, you think?
You got to have pizza, right? A Ninja Turtle. So
That's
anyway, some of
very
those pictures of guys, what are you doing on your off week? And it's kind of fun because they do post pictures, and it's kind of fun to see what they're doing.
Yeah,
So anyway,
that's the cool thing about social media.
Yeah.
You can really keep.
if you're wondering what the Cardinals were doing in their bye week, now you got a shot at looking at what's going on. So here we are in the bye week. We're halfway through the season. Everybody's kind of caught up. A week ago the Cardinals were 6-2, but the Rams were still 4-3, and we didn't know where we're at. So now you went ahead and put together some stats about where the Cardinals stack up. And you started with points per game now. So now here we are halfway through the season. I know it's week 9, but it kind of is screwy because certain teams have bye weeks, others don't. So now we're in that point where, okay, everybody's had 8 or 9 games. Now where do you stack up? Shockingly, the Cardinals are second in the league in points per game.
Even more shocking is the drop-off to the rest of the NFC West. I mean, no NFC West team represented until 25th with the Seahawks.
The bottom quarter.
20.9.
Bottom quarter of the
Yeah, including, of course, the Niners at dead last. But that could change, guys. Blaine Gabbert is a player.
They beat the Falcons.
They beat the Falcons. They were 6-1. Wait, no.
6-2. They've lost
They
3
were
in a row
6-2,
now.
that's right.
I think
They're
that was
6-3
more of
now,
a statement
yeah.
on the Falcons. But that's just my opinion.
Goodness.
But the Patriots obviously number 1, but the Cardinals right on their heels.
Yeah.
I mean, just less than 3 points behind them. So that was an interesting stat, I thought. For here we are halfway through, and the Cardinals are scoring some big time points.
The offense scoring points is not a problem.
You look at that though, and you think the Cardinals. If you don't know their record, you think, well, they must be at least 7-1, right? If not 8-0. But those 2 games, the only team that's beaten the Cardinals this year, like we talked about, Jason, is the Cardinals
themselves.
Yeah.
If they didn't beat themselves, we'd be talking about an 8-0 team right now.
You should be.
Yep. I'll tell you, the Rams had a tough game yesterday with the Vikings, so I thought that one, they tied it up, went to overtime. I thought they were going to come out and get a win there.
That's another game. Look at the rest of the Cardinals' schedule and tell me which is a gimme. Even at San Francisco is not looking that way anymore.
Yeah.
The Vikings, you think, it might be an easy Thursday night win. They're 6-2, same record as the Cardinals and the Packers right now. Got the Packers, got the Seahawks, got the Eagles on the road. There are no easy games remaining on their schedule.
Let's be honest. Let's put a W next to the Niners. I mean, come on.
I don't know.
Really?
See,
you think Gabbert makes that big of a difference?
They beat the Falcons.
Every game takes on its own life. You never
They
know.
also beat the Vikings too. They're just so inconsistent.
Yeah.
So NFL total passing offense. I mean, this was interesting too. The Cardinals are third, and obviously Carson Palmer's been phenomenal over the last 3 years he's been here. He's thrown for over 4,000 yards. I think he's the only quarterback in history to throw for over 4,000 yards with 3 different teams. So that's pretty impressive. So it's just bizarre.
It's funny how parallel those last 2 graphics are.
Yeah.
The drop off there with total passing compared to points per
You
game.
guys surprised at the Seahawks with adding Jimmy Graham and still being that low?
I know it. I mean, they depend so heavy on beast mode.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, teams facing them know what they're going to do. They're going to pound it, ground and pound. Makes it tough.
Interesting though, right? I mean, the
Tough
Seahawks
on them,
20th. No surprise with the Seahawks. Russell Wilson. They're not going to throw the ball real well. The Niners have had trouble. And the interesting thing about the Niners, when you think about this, Colin Kaepernick was one of those Russell Wilson kind of guys, right? A Brett Favre kind of guy, where he was just a gunslinger, and you never know what was going to happen. But they were moving the football with scoring, right?
Yeah.
He comes down last year in the offseason and spends 6-8 weeks with Kurt Warner and training to be a pocket quarterback. He goes back and he's having his worst season ever.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I didn't know, Jason, the Rams are last in passing.
Yeah.
That's
Is that crazy?
Well, they've got Nick Foles at quarterback. He's not very good.
Yeah, that's cute. That didn't take long.
Wildcat jab.
Two Wildcat shots in 10 minutes. We're on.
Wildcat.
More to come. We got a long way to go, Shane.
Long way.
So rushing offense, this is one, my goodness, we've talked about this for decades here. The Arizona Cardinals need some rushing offense, and finally they have it going this year.
Is there a better story in the NFL so far than Chris Johnson being unemployed? I know we talked about it 2 or 3 months ago he was unemployed, but still, it's hard for me to get over the fact he's not just productive. I mean, we figured when the Cardinals picked him up, maybe 4 yards a carry helped them boost their average yards per rush, maybe 10 rushes a game. And Bruce Arians is just loading this guy up, and he's responded so well. He's got those incentives in his contract. You look at, was it like one of them where he rushes for 1,400 yards, he gets a bonus, and we looked at that at the beginning of the year and think, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's just about on pace for that right now. It's ridiculous.
He's the hot hand, clearly. Obviously, he had the 2 fumbles last week against Cleveland, but he's still the hot hand.
If you keep the ball in those hot hands, that'd be great.
Oh, yeah. Well, for some reason, Andre Ellington's ended up in the doghouse. I don't know what it is, but he's kind of fallen into the doghouse. He was there last year with Arians, even though He had the bad foot last year. He had a hard time running. He still ended up in Arians' doghouse.
Yeah.
I think he's still there. And then David Johnson, they keep saying he fumbles the ball, which is interesting because Chris Johnson fumbled twice
he's a
last
veteran.
week. Yeah. So, but listen, they've got a running game, and that's the bottom line to this. They've got an offensive line. They brought Mike Iupati in at left guard to help that rushing game. Chris Johnson's clearly helped, and here they are, 5th in the league.
What's strange is, we chatted with Bruce Arians right before the Cleveland game, and he said, look out, we're really going to use Andre Ellington a lot more. Look for a different role. You're going to see a lot more of him. He got like 3 carries. I mean, it's strange to hear the head coach before a game like that say, here's the plan, look for it, and have it not happen.
It's also not unheard of for a coach to tell the media one thing and then go back and
maybe like a message towards the
Coaches
opponent.
they're not totally honest? What?
I asked the question, and I thought it was a genuine answer, Shane. So maybe.
Yeah. Well, I know Bruce Arians. He enjoys talking to the media. That doesn't mean that he's always going to spill the beans on what they're going to do.
No, there's so much talk right now with the coaches about who's on the injured list, who's not on the injured list, what they're talking about in terms of practice, who's practicing, who's not. I mean, listen, it's gone on for decades, and obviously this. Whether it's Spygate, and we talked to ASU about stealing signals, and we know that the Patriots did that with tried to videotape. Every coach has tried to do it. Baseball's been doing it for eons.
Oh yeah,
right.
Second base, speaking at the catcher.
Oh yeah. I mean, let's say you're on second. They used to put a guy in center field with a flashlight and binoculars. Here's the signals.
What do you say if a runner is picking up signals? Catcher, do a better job blocking it.
Right.
It's never the fault of the person picking up the signals.
So it's been going on forever, and there's so many questions about are the balls inflated, overinflated, underinflated. I mean, listen, so for coaches to not tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth doesn't really surprise me all that much.
What is surprising, though, we think about the conversations we had preseason before it all started. Seahawks, we knew they were going to be up there in the rushing, right? Did you ever think Cardinals would be top 5 midway through the season?
Even during their Super Bowl run, they're toward the bottom of the NFL in rushing. Edgerrin James was past his prime, like Chris Johnson is, but James was just very, I guess to say vanilla as a running back. Him and Tim Hightower were just okay.
Yeah.
But now I don't remember a more complete team in Arizona since 1988, since they've been here, than this year's team.
Like I said, when we started, we've talked about this for decades here. They couldn't run the football. They just haven't been able to go back to Garrison Hurst days. It's like that's in Edgerrin James. I think was probably the last 1,000-yard rusher they had. Yeah. It's just been an ongoing battle with the offensive line and the running attack.
Going back to your point though, which you think at this point they're 3rd in passing, 5th in rushing. We're talking about 7-1-8-0 team, right?
Yeah.
Not so much.
Turnovers.
It could be one of those things you look back at the end of the season, and if they lose the division, or they are just one game out of a first-round bye, you're going to look to that game against the Rams, or I think even worse, the Steelers and Landry the stash.
Yeah,
that's right.
Just losing that game, that could be devastating.
Let's take a look at defense, because this is the key this week. We're going against the Seahawks Sunday night up there in Seattle. They're 3rd in the league in points allowed, so you're not going to be playing the Sisters of the Poor Sunday night in Seattle, even though they're 4-4, and it's not unusual for the Seahawks to start a season 2-2, 3-3.
Right.
I know 4-4 puts them in a little bit of a hole right now, but it's the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
Listen, they were in the Super Bowl last year, and by all accounts should have won it against the Patriots, but they're only giving up 17.5 points a game.
Yeah, and it's one where that number has dramatically improved with the addition of Cam Chancellor. We were talking at the beginning of the season. This is not the Legion of Boom we've seen.
No.
But we also said when the Cards head to CenturyLink, they could be back to that Legion of Boom that we've seen in years past. And I think they kind of are, which is going to be tough.
Oh, it is tough.